All right, hey everybody. Again, this is like the third time today. It's comic reviews time, May 30th, the week of May 30th comics today. We got some special stuff in here today, not just Marvel stuff. So, let's just start the review. This is Smirking Gun Reviews comics for May 30th, and we are starting with The Amazing Spider-Man number 800. There are a bunch of different variants along with the standard, a ton at your local comic shop. I get mine at Graham Cracker Comics in DeKalb, Illinois. Nice place to go to. They always have a lot of good selection for variants and just other cool stuff in general. But I picked out this one. I've gotten this is the connecting variant. So 800, 799, 798, 797 all come together and make one big picture. In the past, you've seen me do the Where's Wolverine. I am not going to pull all these out, but it kind of gives you what's going to happen in this Amazing Spider. I picked up two versions. This is the Amazing Spider-Man number 800 Mobius variant. Pretty cool. Now, in this issue, a lot of stuff. It's a big book, and it's not just like an annual where they give you a part of the story and then they give you a bunch of crap. It's a big story, and it has cheers and tears. Not without spoiling anything, there is a death in it, and there's some pretty interesting surprises going along the way, and cameos and things like that to try to stop Norman Osborn, who has been clinging to the Carnage Cletus Cassidy symbiote, and how this all gets crazily resolved, bringing it to an ultimate climax with a whole bunch of things going on where Spider-Man, as you can see, ends up with using the symbiote that Venom has. And it's the only thing basically he can do to try to stop Norman Carnage Goblin. Pretty good story. Best Spider-Man issue I read in a little while. And yeah, I mean, it's $10. It is worth your money. And like I said, they give you so many different options. So, and they're all basically the same price. So, I mean, unless you get some really, there's some expensive ones out there. So let's go on right now to Daredevil 603. Again, continuing a pretty good story arc as Matt Murdock is taking the Kingpin's place as mayor. And like I said, I really like the art in this. It reminds me a lot of John Romita Jr. stuff. And in this, we get, to see Elektra is back and helping Matt out. I gotta stop fooling around with my hair here. Elektra shows up and to help. We get to see more of what the Beast, his whole situation is. The Beast sounds like a villain from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but the story is pretty good. I highly recommend picking this up. I don't want to say too much more about this. It's just got to do with Elektra and ninjas, the Hand, and this Beast unleashing this thing on the city to make things worse. I always find it so crazy that all this stuff is happening in New York at the same time. Anyway, okay, so now we're at Infinity Countdown, Captain Marvel number 1. Now, unlike Daredevil number 1, Infinity Countdown was pretty good, but unlike this last one I did with Darkhawk, this one's pretty good. It's Captain Marvel has the Reality Stone, and it's basically just a simple story of her visiting other versions of herself to see different choices and kind of like how that can like mess with your head. There's not really much to say about this. I don't want to spoil anything, but this is way better than Darkhawk, I can tell you that right now. And it moves the story along a little bit more, gives you a little bit more insight into certain things that have happened in the Marvel Universe in the last year or so with Captain Marvel. Okay, now we are at Marvel 2-in-1, The Thing and Human Torch, issue number 6. This is the Deadpool variant. Now, I haven't been getting this book. I kind of, it sold out, and I wasn't going to I didn't want second printings. And so I kind of was waiting for the trade, and then I saw this cover that was coming out, and I'm like, I have to get this just for the cover alone. But the story is pretty good, too. The Thing has this thing that he found from Richards that allows them to travel the multiverse, and in this thing, they're kind of him and Johnny Storm are traveling different universes, getting into adventures. Ben has told them that it's a way to find Sue and Reed, but it's a lie. That's a lie, and that they're actually dead. But it's just the crazy adventures, and in this one, man, it's nuts, man. There's like Doctor Doom is Galactus, and Emma Frost turns in it. It's a lot going on, but it's really good. But now that they've announced that the Fantastic Four are coming back, maybe the whole thing isn't such a lie. But this is a great cover, and it's actually a pretty good book by itself. So I highly recommend picking that up if you can. All right, now get to another good book, The Punisher, number 225. If you watched my last review, it's just fun watching the Punisher go up against heroes, because the holier than thou attitude, and they don't know the whole story about different things. All these. This is a trigger for Carol Danvers to see anybody wearing the Iron Man or the War Machine suit. So some of these people do have points, but Nick Fury's been hiding things from people. Not everybody knows what went on when Frank joined Hydra, and that's going to be part of the continuing story, is Frank going after the people that know, about Hydra and all that was going on. So, really cool book. Some really cool shit going on in this book. Just fun Frank Castle stuff. Still, the art that looks like John Bernthal. It's pretty cool, pretty fun stuff. All right, now we are at XMen Blue, number 28. This is kind of wrapping up the storyline where the Mother Vine thing has been turning all sorts of people into mutants, not by choice. I've been liking this story just fine. It'll be nice to get the regular group back next week after the Poison X storyline with Venom and all that has been going on. So this has been kind of like... I feel like this is a bigger story than what should have been happening, but it's still cool. I mean, I hate seeing Havoc as the villain here, but there is some cool stuff with Jimmy Hudson and Miss Sinister in here, and resolving interesting ways to resolve the villains versus the heroes matchups in this. So yeah, if you like X-Men, you'll like this book. And now we're at XMen Red, annual number 1. Pretty good annual. Kind of, some of these annuals bum me out, but this is kind of like telling the stuff that happened right before XMen Red, like what happened when Jean came back at the end of Phoenix Resurrection. It's a pretty simple little story. It's got some nice little heartfelt moments about her meeting up with different people. It's got some funny stuff with Gabby. And, they show Gambit on here. And again, there's like no Gambit in this book. I'm just getting a little irritated. When am I going to get my Gambit fixed? But it does have a nice little story about Jean and what her purpose is in X-Men Red and what she really wants to do. And it gives us a little bit more insight into some of the things that have happened between Phoenix Resurrection and this book. So it's pretty good. If you like X-Men, again, you're going to like this. Okay, so now we are down to our last 3 books, and they're not Marvel. Okay, so first up is Doomsday Clock. Ooh, number 5 of 12. Yes, I do sometimes pick up DC books without them being trades. Doomsday Clock, mainly because of its connection to the Watchmen storyline and how those characters are blending in with current DC books. I'm not going to say hardly anything about this. This cover doesn't give anything away, except, when's the Joker going to show up? And that's not really the point of this. It's just as kind of complicated as the Watchmen book. Maybe not quite as, like head-scratching sometimes, but it is still totally worth it. It's a great book. They usually come out with different variants, but I just grabbed the one that they put in my box because I'm a subscriber to books. This is the version they picked for me. I was hoping it would be a good one. So this is not a bad cover. But if you do like the idea of Watchmen meets like the DC universe, that's this book, and it's pretty dark and pretty crazy, and it has a lot of different things that connect both the Watchmen universe and the DC universe and the original Watchmen storyline. So there you go. Highly recommend this book. And another DC book I didn't even know I was getting this week because I wasn't paying attention is the first issue of The Man of Steel. The reason I picked this up by itself and not in a trade is because this is the first issue by Brian Michael Bendis, who's just come off of Invincible Iron Man and Jessica Jones. Really like his writing style, and I wasn't disappointed in this book one bit. The writing is very good. I'm really interested in where it goes. There's some things in here that I don't understand because I haven't been reading all the DC books. So there's a couple of questions that even I have, but it's a great start. It has to do with this villain who way back when saw what Krypton was becoming and what he wants done with it. And you can tell that that's going to end up being a future part of future issues here. But it's a nice little beginning. The writing is on point. Very impressed with the writing. I can't say anything. And the art's pretty good too. This cover really doesn't represent what happens in the book. It's kind of a simple story. But no, I highly recommend it. And Brian Michael Bendis does it again. And speaking, we go from one Brian to my favorite Brian, in comics anyway. And that is, we are at Saga number 52. I have not reviewed Saga, I don't think, on here. Maybe I have. But Saga is one of my top books. This is the stuff you should be reading. Besides any, regular books, this is the stuff. This is my crack. I love this story. Brian K. Vaughan, who wrote one of my favorite books, The Why the Last Man, is still nailing it with this book, which is like Romeo and Juliet meets Star Wars meets everything. I mean, anything and everything can happen in this book. If you're not familiar with it, the Cliff Notes version is a guy from one warring side falls in love with another person from another warring side. They're different species. They have a kid, and now the whole galaxy is after them because they made a kid, and nobody wants anybody to know about it. And it's these adventures told from the perspective of their kid in the future. So obviously she's alive, and you don't know what's going to happen. And even though it's set in this ridiculous galaxy far, far away sort of situation, they deal with very mundane things in this crazy, crazy situation that they're in. And anything can happen, man. Shit like goes down like Joss Whedon style. Like talking about Buffy stuff, like just out of left field, boom, things are just flip behind your head. And unexpectedly. So you never get comfortable in this book. Things can just go wrong. Brian K. Vaughan also did like episodes of Lost and things like this. So we're talking, this guy did really good. And I can't say enough good things about this book. If you can, get the trades, go all the way back, read online, whatever. You will be doing yourself a disservice if you don't read Saga. There, I've said my piece. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I know not a lot of people watch this, but I'm trying to get people to read more, and these comics are good. So anyway, in the comments below, what should I be reading? What do you like to read? What don't you like to read? What are your problems with the comics industry? Anything, I don't care. So again, like this video if you like it. Subscribe if you would like to subscribe. Help out the channel. I really appreciate all the support I've been getting. I say this on every video. I'm starting to feel like I'm, kicking a not quite dead horse about it. But we are at 79 subscribers, and we're just clicking along here, making videos as much as we can. And yeah, that's about it. This will be my last one for the day. But we did just put up Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Season 4 review. And The Handmaid's Tale was earlier today. So we will see you on the next videos. I have no idea what I'm doing next. I think once I finish Arrested Development, I'll be doing a Season 5 review. Otherwise, it might be it for the week until Westworld on Sunday. So this is Rob from Smirking Gun Reviews saying have a great night and enjoy reading your comics.